Hey guys, it's me, Kevin, and welcome to the Tuesday Talk, a new YouTube series where I talk about a different AFL topic every Tuesday. And today I'm going to be talking about the rule changes that were made in 2020 due to the coronavirus pandemic, and I'm going to critique whether these rule changes and new initiatives should stay and continue in 2021 or whether they should get rid of. There are a lot of rule changes and new initiatives made. There was the 16-minute quarters, there was the fixture frenzy where you had games in the middle of the week, there was the grand final at the Gabba, the night grand final, a whole bunch of these different rule changes. And today I'm going to be going by them one by one and determining whether they should stay or leave. First of all, let's look at the 16-minute quarters. Didn't really like them. The scoring decreased. There was a lot more congestion. Those are the main two issues I have with the shortened quarters. On the plus side, I guess, my heart wasn't racing for as long. I only have to be stressed out about an Eagles result for 2.5 hours as opposed to potentially 3 hours. But unless you have a heart problem, the 16-minute quarters was not very beneficial. I mean, as I said, the scoring decreased. We had a lot of low scoring. I thought the 36-36 all game in the season restart, I thought that was just such a weird game, but it turned out to be quite normal, actually, across the year, those kind of games. Shorter quarters mean there was more congestion, more tackling, scoring decreased. I would like to see it go back to 20 minutes as well. I don't like the 18-minute quarters either, partly because I'm OCD and I just think 20 minutes it's 20 minutes. It feels more right as opposed to 18 minutes. I would personally like to see it go back to 20 next year. I won't talk about this rule much, but holding the ball, Alistair Clarkson made a charade about it back in round 4, and I saw a lot of stupidly paid holding the balls. Free kicks paid up from round 5 onwards. I saw a lot of stupid ones. To be fair, I don't think they've ever interpreted that rule correctly. I think the AFL needs to sit down and focus on trying to... they need to find a proper interpretation on how holding the ball should be paid. I'm not sure how, but they just need to clean that rule up because it's kind of annoying and very, very inconsistent. Now onto the fixture, which was the area in the 2020 season that was probably the most hampered by the COVID pandemic. The first change that occurred in the fixture was the reduction to 18 rounds, but each team played each other once and also had a bye. I do like the fairness of it, I will admit that. I do like how each team got to play each other once, and I do feel like it's more fair. For that reason, I feel like the AFL should eventually, I'm not saying next year, I'm saying eventually, should expand to 20 teams so that every team plays each other once and their rival twice. That way they play 20 games each and they play 200 matches across the season. However, that said, 17 rounds and 153 games is probably not enough football for a year. Unless you do another competition alongside it, which I don't think would happen, then I think there needs to be a certain number of games. I feel like what the AFL should do next year is they should fixture it so every team plays each other once, okay? It gets to round 18, so each team plays each other once and has a bye. And from rounds 19 to 20... 1 to 18, each team plays each other once and has a bye. Round 19 should be rivalry round. And rounds 20 to 23, they'll play the other 4 teams twice. Round 19, obviously, each team is playing their rival. Obviously, there'll be a double-up. That gives the AFL a week to fixture the rest of the season. So, look, whilst I think the season length as a whole should revert back to 22 rounds, well, 23 including the bye, I do feel like, at least for the initial fixture release, it should just be each team plays each other once, plus their rival twice. Once the ladder is decided, based on the round 18 ladder, they should use that to decide who plays each other two times. I'll tell you the reason, okay? The reason is, some teams like Brisbane, they came 15th in 2018. They just shoot up to the ladder in 2019 on the basis of an easy fixture. Melbourne at the same time had to play West Coast, Richmond, and Collingwood twice. Poor Melbourne. They were already having a bad season. It was only made worse because they had to play the top 3 of the best teams twice. If they were probably playing Gold Coast and Carlton twice, maybe they might have finished higher than 17th. Brisbane, I think, have been pretty good, but I feel like they also had a boost. They had to play Gold Coast and North Melbourne twice, so yeah. I feel like 18 rounds, each team plays each other once, and a bye. Round 19 is rivalry round. That's the start of the double-ups. Rounds 20 to 23, based on the round 18 ladder, will be determined then. Now, the next area in the fixture, which was altered in 2020, was the fact that games were played outside of the traditional time slots, so like on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all those weird time slots. Look, I did like the Football Frenzy. I like the Big Bash League and how they do their fixture. I do enjoy that with the Big Bash every summer. So I was kind of glad to see it in the AFL. Unfortunately, they didn't televise most of the midweek games on free-to-air, so that kind of sucked. Nonetheless, I did like it. However, I can see why it wouldn't be suitable for 2021, and the main reason is that crowds would drop off for like a Tuesday night game. I feel because teams won't go to the football on a Monday or Tuesday night, and I feel like especially the Tuesday afternoon slots and all those afternoon slots are ridiculous. Look, I think the Football Frenzy should happen in 2 periods for 2021. The first being Easter, which would spread across rounds 3, 4, and 5, and the second being in the winter school holidays, spread across rounds 16, 17, and 18. So having a Football Frenzy in those rounds, I feel like because the kids are on the holidays, they can go to the grounds. More people will attend those midweek games, and and there'll be interest during the school holidays, whilst in the school term, it just reverts back to the normal fixture. Friday to Sunday, a few Thursdays at the start of the year. I don't think there should be a Thursday night match every week, but I do feel like, like they've done in the past few years, play selected rounds with Thursday night. Monday, apart from the Football Frenzy, I reckon scrap that. Same with Tuesday and Wednesday. And also don't do Friday afternoon, that's just stupid. Right, as for neutral grounds, the only places that should host neutral grounds are places like Ballarat, Canberra, Cairns, all those places which don't have a home team. Apart from that, scrap it. You don't want Carlton, Collingwood playing up in Brisbane again. I mean, not many people are interested this year. I don't think teams should play in mainland cities during neutral games. I feel like obviously neutral games would have to occur in places like Darwin, and I feel like the places where those would be accepted, Darwin, Alice Springs, Cairns, I don't mind, and same with Ballarat if you want to throw one up in Townsville. I reckon St Kilda should play a couple of games where in either Auckland or Wellington. Obviously, GWS play their games in Canberra, Hawthorn at Launceston, and North Melbourne in Hobart. I think all those would work well. Apart from that, every other team should just play at their home ground. Also, another thing I want reverted back to in 2021 is having every single Saturday night match on Channel 7 in WA. I don't know why, but half the time, the AFL... half the Saturday night matches were Foxtel exclusive in WA. I don't know why. Anyway, so yeah, every Friday night, every Saturday night, every Thursday match, and basically every Sunday game, at least one Sunday game, and every Eagles Dockers games on free-to-air television in WA. Okay, not that hard. there's another thing I want to talk about, and that's flights and hotels. So I'm terming that because that comes under two things. There was a few road trips in 2020 due to WA's hard borders. I don't think that they should be a thing in 2021 because hotel costs are more expensive than flight costs. Okay, yeah, flight costs in isolation, yes, they're more expensive, but considering these players would be staying for about 2 weeks in a hotel, I think it will accumulate to more than it would be if you just fly in, fly out. The other thing is, one thing I do agree that they should keep from 2020 is teams travelling to the same city and back. So, for example, if Sydney Swans are playing a game at the SCG, then North Melbourne could fly up to Sydney and back on the same day. I agree with that. I mean, this obviously, Eagles and Dockers will be excluded from that. They have to have at least one night in a hotel because of that 4-hour flight. But for the other 16 teams who, it's only an hour flight to each other destination, I reckon you just fly in and out on the same day. Now, let's talk about the grand final. The first of two things which I'm going to cover is the time slot. I do feel like part of it should be playing the day. I feel like it started too late. 7:30 was a little too late. Okay, with me it was fine. It was 4:30 p.m. That was fine. But, yeah, I think 7:30 was a little too late. The whole thing being played at night was a little weird. But that said, I don't think it should be fully day either. And you want to know why? It's because of the halftime show. I loved it, okay? The halftime show looked spectacular, in my opinion. And also, I feel like it looked better, Richmond holding up the Premiership Cup at night. I was a little surprised I didn't play a fireworks display, a yellow and black fireworks display. Well, not black, obviously can't have black fireworks, but I'm surprised they didn't have a yellow fireworks display after the match, after the grand final. I feel like that could have been done in the grand final if they ever do a night one. I reckon the best way to combat, the best way to get around it is you start at 4:30 p.m, which is in the daytime. That means all the pre-match entertainment is during the day, national anthems during the day, and the first quarter is also in the daylight. Second quarter, the sun goes down. It's kind of the sunset quarter, the second quarter, and by halftime, it's pretty much pitch black, and that's where the halftime performance is, and then the third, fourth quarters are at the dark, and as well as the presentation of the Premiership. Yeah, so if it starts at 4:30, that means it ends at about 7:20. Should all be over by about 7:40 if you include the cup being held up. It should be all over by about 7:45. I feel like there's still a bit of time to celebrate from 8 o'clock onwards. You get the best of both worlds, in my opinion, if you start at 4:30. And lastly, the AFL venue. I really don't know what to think of that. I'm kind of divided between two different opinions here. If it was going to be a neutral game, yes, definitely the MCG far and about. You get 100,000 people in there, you get about 20,000 corporate and another 80,000 fans. And the atmosphere would be buzzing there. There'll be a big atmosphere there with 100,000 people there, and it's tradition. But, here's the but. I do like the idea of the top team, or the home team, whoever's the highest ranked grand finalist, hosting the grand final. And I say this, if we ever have a situation where we have an Eagles and Dockers grand final, or a Port Adelaide Gold Coast grand final, let's say Port Adelaide's on top, okay? It should be played at Adelaide Oval. You get the home fans go. I mean, if you have a Port Adelaide Gold Coast Grand Final in Melbourne would you get it up to 100,000 people? Likewise with the Eagles Dockers, well, I think that one, yeah, that will get 100,000 in Melbourne. But do you really want to try and have to ship fans from the Western Seaboard, ship them over the Nullarbor just to watch a grand final? I don't know. Yeah, and also the other thing, you can't really decide the week before the grand finals because of pre-match entertainment and corporate sponsors. I think the MCG is probably the safe option going forward. And they've also got the contract there, which kind of means it must be at the MCG. But I would prefer to see an Eagles-Dockers Grand Final in Perth as opposed to Melbourne. Let's just put it that way. And actually, I want to talk about one more thing. I know this wasn't a rule change for 2020. It's been here for the last 5 years. But I do want to talk about this while I'm at it. The pre-finals bye, I don't like it. It needs to be scrapped. Port Adelaide and Brisbane finished top 2, won their qualifying finals. But see, they only played 1 game in 3 weeks. That's not enough preparation, okay, for crunch time games. Richmond and Geelong, they were better prepared, and they both beat Port Adelaide and Brisbane in the preliminary final. Further proof, it needs to be scrapped. The top team should have an advantage, okay? If the bottom teams are cooked, well, that's their fault. They didn't earn they shouldn't earn the same advantages as the top teams, okay? If they finished in the lower 4, then that's their problem. They didn't play well enough to make the top 4, okay? That's the way I see it. Okay, if you're not in the top 2, you didn't play well enough to make it into the top 2. So I reckon scrap the pre-finals bye. The only exception is that is if the VFL or, well, actually the Eastern Seaboard competition, if they want to televise every single finals match for the ESFL. In that case, yeah, use a pre-finals bye. First week of the finals of that competition, all games will be televised, same with Sample and Waffle, and then you can get all the finals games across all 4 competitions in the 5-week block. But if they're not going to bother televising all the games, then there's no point keeping the pre-finals bye. So, I hope you liked the video. Please like, please subscribe, please comment what you think of the video down below. What do you think of my new the Tuesday Talk show? Keep tuning into that. Also, comment which rule changes do you think should be made or kept, or which ones do you think should be reverted to the original. And check out some other videos and tune into next week's episode of the Tuesday Talk, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.